So everyone, welcome to the SociaLpreneur podcast. This is episode 2. I'm excited for you all to be here. I'm excited for our guests that I'm going to introduce to you in a second. But like always, a couple of quick housekeepings. If you haven't listened to episode 1, make sure you do that and hopefully share it and like it. And if you know anyone that is a good fit for this podcast, send them my way. My email address will be in the comments down below. And I hope you all are having a good day. Like I said, this is episode 2. So let's hop right into it to my guest because I don't want to make this about me. This is about you all. This is about her. And I'm excited for this because as I was talking to her, which I'll introduce in a second, I was saying this podcast, I always talk about the good of social media. But now let's talk about things that can happen in social media. I hate to say the bad, but we know that there's some bad out there. And when there's bad, what do we do? What are the signs to look for? What are the resources for it? So that's why I'm excited to introduce you to Raenae. She has a nonprofit called SociaLight Stars.
Yes, that's correct.
Correct. And she's been doing this for, I think you said you started it in 2024?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. But I'm going to let her tell you all a little bit about this and let you all soak this all in, because if you're seeing what she's about to talk about happening, then we need to know about it. We need to get you all some help, or you need to get somebody else some help. So Raenae, thank you so much for coming on here, because this needs to be talked about. It needs to be broadcast, and we need to get the word out to help other people if things like this are happening on social media. So Raenae,
absolutely.
How are you?
I am good. How are you, Allison? Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. I am great. So tell us what you do and a little bit about your business.
Okay, so SociaLight Stars is a nonprofit movement in which we educate and empower the community on the effects of social media trauma and cyberbullying. Some of our signature topics include digital citizens, I can't say it. It's so crazy. I've been saying it all week because this week is Digital Citizenship Week. Our signature topics include digital citizenship, digital wellness, digital boundaries. We also provide healing resources and healing tools. And we talk about the healing journey for anyone who has experienced social media trauma and cyberbullying.
That is awesome. Very, very much needed. So how did this start for you?
Okay, so my story is a true story. This came from, unfortunately, a situation where my family member decided to go on social media and talk about an event that happened in my home between my husband and our 2 children. And she made sure that she went live to talk about it. She posted a horrible recording that, unbeknownst to me, was actually recorded. And this was in 2021. So she did it in 2021 on Facebook. And then, unfortunately, once she found out I was starting a nonprofit based upon my trauma that happened in 2021, she decided to post it on TikTok in 2024.
Wow.
And I never really healed from the 2021 incident on Facebook. So when the 2024 incident happened on TikTok, it was magnified like 30 times more, because of course we know TikTok is a major social media platform, and that is where everyone is for the most part, especially young children. So yes. So in the interim of actually getting the nonprofit, a true nonprofit, from the state of North Carolina, I was going through that. And yes, so I am a social media trauma survivor. I tell people that all the time, even though I'm almost 43, I'm an adult, and it can still happen. It happens to adults. It happens to children. It happens to celebrities. It does not age. It is not okay for people to go and troll people and say negative things underneath a post, and to go in their followers and send followers links to the TikTok, which actually
oh wow.
Oh yes, I could go on. My story is about an hour long.
Wow. Do you have that story posted somewhere?
Yes, it is on my podcasts. I have a YouTube podcast, the SociaLight
Well,
Stars
you can
podcast.
send me that link, and I'll put that down in the comments down below. So if people want to go hear your whole story, that they can do that.
Yes, and then also if you go on Instagram, there are a couple clips of the podcast where I talk about it. As of August, I was able to have a guilty charge of cyber stalking.
Wow.
On my family member. I was one of the first cases in Mecklenburg County to have that actually, I guess, go forth, because a lot of people, they go down to the DA's office and they want to file the charges, but they end up doing a mediation and they don't go to trial. And I was one of the first cases of cyber stalking to go to trial. And the DA, that was her first cyber stalking case, and she won. So yeah, so it wasn't cool at the time, but once the guilty verdict was done and I was able to talk to the DA afterwards, she did let me know, like, this was her first cyber stalking case. There was other attorneys that were interested in knowing about it. They were actually coming in during the trial, taking notes. And because, again, a lot of people don't want to go forth with it. They don't have enough evidence. The DA may say, oh, you don't have enough evidence for this charge, but I had enough evidence. So.
Well, first off, I want to say sorry that happened to you and your family, because that should not happen to anyone. And people should not put other people's business out on social media or out in public in general, because it's not their business to tell.
Absolutely.
Then I want to say congratulations for winning that trial, and for you to be this strong woman that you are and take it to trial, because most people would just let it go and let it sit in the background here, or they're scared that, something else might happen, or they just let that other person take their power, and you did not do that. So thank you for being that powerful and empowered woman and do what you did, because that is going to help a lot of people know what they should do. So thank you for that
so much. Thank you.
You are welcome. So in doing that and telling your story and taking it to trial, you obviously birthed this nonprofit that is amazing and a resource for everyone else. Once you won that trial, how did that make you feel? And did that push you forward to do more?
It definitely pushed me forward to do more. Even in the interim between February and August, I was providing workshops for parents through Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools, their after school program, Greater Enrichment Program. So I had the opportunity to provide digital resources, digital wellness resources, digital boundaries, the workshop, and letting parents know that there is a such thing as healthy screen time and how to limit the screen time. I also had the opportunity, again, to build the podcast in between this. So, which is a part of the healing journey. So I can talk about it with other people. Let's see. I also had the opportunity to be a vendor at community events, to let people know about social media trauma and cyberbullying, because a lot of people, it's amazing that a lot of people had not even heard of social media trauma until they heard about my nonprofit.
Wow. You would think people would put two and two together, because we've heard of cyberbullying, but
yes. So they really didn't understand. So what is social media trauma? How does social media trauma and cyberbullying relate? So I have to educate and empower them to understand that this is what it looks like. This is what social media trauma looks like. This is what cyberbullying looks like.
Right. So with all of this that you're doing, and I know you're doing a lot in like the Charlotte, North Carolina area, is there an opportunity? I can see an opportunity for this to grow. Is that part of what you're thinking to grow state to state? Because I'm in Kentucky. I know we need it Kentucky, Tennessee, we need it California, wherever. So what do you think what are you thinking? What's in your mind about how this might grow and catch on? Or
what I want to do is to go to different states to speak about this. I want to go to team workshops. I'm working on actually building a project to present to some other school systems in other states, to present to them the youth workshop experience, the parent workshop experience, family workshop experience, because I think it's important for teens to understand that even though Miss Raenae is almost 43, I understand what it's like to be on social media, and you want to tell all your friends all the good stuff. And then sometimes you want to prove your point, and it may be negative. And I go even beyond social media. When we talk about digital wellness, that includes the video games, because a lot of parents don't realize certain video games, Roblox, there are people on there that are supposed to be they act as children, but they're adults. And they have caused our children to do things that they're not supposed to do.
Right.
So I talk about that as well with children, about video games and how you're supposed to be a good digital citizen on your phone, on a video game, on an iPad. That is how you need to experience. So that's my next step, is starting this project to send to the school systems in different states so they can see there is a nonprofit out here. A lot of the school systems are starting to implement more programs about digital wellness and digital citizenship, which is great. But children sometimes need to hear it from what I call a woman that is, I'm still a little bit cool, but I'm older, because I do have 20 years of education experience. So I was a teacher for a while. So
and you also went through it. It's not like you're just standing up there talking about something that you didn't go through. I'm such an advocate for that. I hate that, us as women or adults or anything have to go through things to realize this is what we need to talk about. I had an experience like that because I went through infertility and IVF, and I realized that was something that I could be a resource for and talk about, just like you. Like, I hate for people to go through that, but sometimes you go through something in order to help other people.
Yes, absolutely. And when I am at workshops or I am a community vendor and children, it's funny because the parents will come to me first and say, what is SociaLight Stars? And then they read my, I have like a table advertisement that has the mission on it. So when they read that part about social media trauma and cyberbullying, they say, oh, my child needs to come talk to you. So the child comes over, and as soon as the parent will say, she talks about how you should be nice on social media, and the children automatically tense up because they think I'm going to say social media is bad and don't do it.
Right. And then their parents are going to be like, oh, you got to get off of it.
Yes. So once I guide them into a space of, Miss Raenae is not here to tell you that you don't need to be on social media, because social media is not bad. It is the user that gives it the negative connotation. I said, so you as the user, you have the power to do the right thing. You have the power to not comment. You have the power to keep scrolling. You have the power to show empathy. And once I do that, then I see the lift weight, like, oh, okay, she is cool. She is not going to say social. I don't need to be on social
She's
media.
not going to tell my mom to make me stop using it.
I can't tell a child not to be on social media if I'm on social media.
Right.
I just can't do that.
When you said that just gave me an idea for you. Maybe in the future, you maybe should have SociaLight ambassadors, and it can be these children who are there looking out for other children, and they obviously get rewarded in some way, shape, or form for doing good and showing good and looking out for other people. So
that's thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's so many things I want. 2025 is really going to be like hit the ground running. Right now, it's just trying to get my name out there, and if you've never had a nonprofit, it can be very hard to get your name out there with a nonprofit because it's a different target audience. For this, I had a social media management, business consulting, and event planning business. That was a little bit easier to get off the ground because everybody needs an event planner, a social media manager, and a business assistant. That was easier. But this,
and they know what that is.
Yes, exactly. When you talk about a nonprofit, the mission and the purpose has to really be eat, sleep, breathe it. And when I go out and talk about it, I give my all because, again, that's a different target audience. And I'm talking about social media trauma and cyberbullying. And I'm talking about limit your screen time. And I'm talking about digital wellness. And I knew starting that was going to be a lot to pull people in.
Right.
You know,
Right.
especially if you are always on your phone. You don't want to hear
Mhm.
anybody tell you need to limit your screen time. Like, you're not trying to hear that. But it's funny. But the people that despise social media are like, yes, I love it. I'm all I'm on
Right,
board.
and the people that have seen things happen on
Yes.
social media, like, I use my social media for good. I use it for my business. So, I
Right.
mean, it's not like I'm like, don't use social media, but I
Right.
also see the bad. And that segues me into asking you what I don't even know if the question is, what are your thoughts on?
Mhm.
So these kids recording these fights and putting them on social media. I don't even know if I want to be like, what are your thoughts on it? Because I kind of know
Mhm.
what your thoughts on it, but what can we do about it? What's your take?
We have to empower our children to
Mm-hmm.
make the right choices.
Mm-hmm.
Us as their parents, us as their guardians,
Mm-hmm.
we have to model for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I talk about at the parent workshops a lot. Our children watch us.
Mm-hmm.
So if they see us get excited about what we see negative on social media, if they see our FYP has nothing but drama and somebody going live about negativity and a fight,
Mm-hmm.
how can we tell our children not to do that?
That's
There
so
are, I know for Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, if a child records a fight and they post it, they also get in trouble
good.
as well. They
Good.
had to start doing that because it's already sad that a child is getting in a fight for whatever the reason is. But once you record it, it intensifies the situation 10 times more because you
Right.
have
And it,
other children
yeah.
from other schools, other states that see a negative point amongst other children.
Right. And it's further traumatizing the child that got
Yes.
in the fight or child that got beat up or got
And
hurt. That
yes.
trauma, they have to keep seeing that over and over and over and over again.
Right. They also might get bullied as well.
Mhm.
Because if someone tags their name in the comments, or if somebody says, well, who is that?
Mhm.
And then they tag that person's social media handle, people can go to them and say, oh, I saw you got beat up.
Beat up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you should have got beat up. You should have got your, these children
Yeah.
get cursed.
I get it. And
Yeah,
I think
you should have
us
got
as
beat up.
adults
Yeah,
get it.
like there's no empathy, none.
Right.
And that's another piece of what we talk about with digital citizenship, to show empathy.
Mhm.
What if you were in the fight and you were being recorded?
Right. And why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And two, and yes, I just became a parent. I have a 5-month-old, and I don't want to put it all on. Thank you. I don't want to put it all on the parents, but sometimes it's like, where are the parents patrolling, is that the word, looking at their kids' social media? Like,
Yes.
I have a niece, she's 21 now. I just remember looking at her social media, and I think she posted something that had like a bad word. It wasn't a bad thing, but it had a bad word in it. I texted her and I said, remove that. I'm not her parent, I'm her aunt, but I'm like,
yes,
where are the parents looking at their child's social media?
correct. In parent workshops that I've done so far, some of the parents do check their children's social
Mhm.
media,
Mhm.
and some of the parents do try to implement boundaries.
Mhm.
But then I've had some of them tell me, well, they'll get upset with me, and I don't want them to be upset with me.
Are they paying the bills? Did they pay the
And
bill on
that
that
is
phone?
exactly what I say. When I speak at parent workshops, I am me. I don't say, well, you should. No. I'm like, listen.
Right. Like you said, I'm 41, and my mom, if I still did something wrong, she would tell me about it. Now,
Yes.
granted, I am
Yes.
41 and I can kind of do pretty much what I want, but
Right.
I still don't have to hear it from her.
Absolutely. But again, that's where you put in the boundaries.
Yeah.
Take your child's phone if you see something inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Check those messages.
Mm-hmm.
Go on
Well, you should be checking them anyway.
Right.
Just because you don't know who's trying to infiltrate your family, your child. It might not be cyberbullying. It could be something else. So
yes, exactly. Take the phone out of their room at night. I talk about that as well. They should not be on their phones before they go to bed.
Right, because you don't know what they're doing at 2, 3 in the morning on their phone.
Yes.
Who they're talking to at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yes. And then they're tired when it's time for them to get up from school, and it's because they've been on their phone or their tablet. Again, it's more than just the phone, it's the tablet now. We gotta compete with tablets and video games.
Somebody needs to take my phone away from me in the middle of the night too.
We're working. Like,
Yes.
we're working.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
We're not doom scrolling, which is
That's
something else
true.
we
I'm
talk about.
not.
I talk about as well.
This is it's a crazy world that we live in, and I don't even feel like we're that far removed from being in high school, because I still remember being in high school. I still remember being in college.
Yes.
But it's still so different. Cell phones maybe not just came out, maybe when I was junior, senior, maybe in high school, but they weren't like they were now.
Correct.
There was no text messages until I got to like a freshman in college.
Right. I remember that. My first phone was cellular wireless.
Just telling our age everywhere.
Yes.
Anyways, it is just so different now. And so before I had kids, when I used to work, my full-time job is obviously social media and stuff like that, but I used to work for University of Kentucky. I remember one of my coworkers, he had a younger daughter, I think, that may have been in that time, 3rd, 4th grade. It's still in elementary school. And he was talking about how the kids in her class had cell phones, and their daughter wanted a cell phone. And they were like, no, you're not, not 4th grade, not elementary school at all.
Right.
And he was like, it's always 1 or 2 parents that ruin it for the whole class, because they buy this kid a cell phone, and everybody, all these kids are now asking for a cell phone.
Right. My children did not get a cell phone until they were in middle school. And
that's because now I feel like they need it.
Right.
At this age.
But also, if you do want to get your child a cell phone at a young age, there are limits you can put on your child's phone. I know with iPhone, our youngest son, he's in the 10th grade. He still has to request, if he wants to use certain apps, he has to request it, and his dad has to approve it. So there are boundaries that you can implement. If you want to give your child a phone, you can implement it. If you have this family, a family plan, or however your phone is set up, you can approve what apps they can download.
Right. And that's one that's needed. I know I'm not trying to preach to the choir of other parents, but that is totally needed, especially if your child is young and and they might not even be trying to do stuff that's bad, but
right.
things happen on phones, and people see phones and all this other stuff. I'm still baffled when I see like a 3rd grader with an iPhone, a brand new iPhone, but that's just me.
Yes. Right. And going back to what you said, the child, you may trust your child to do the right thing with their phone, but there are lurkers, there are predators in the internet world that are preying on young children. That's why I encourage young children, and I tell parents all the time, do not have your child's face as an actual profile picture. Sometimes you need to have like a character. Even my children, my son is grown and he has Spider-Man.
So we have yet to show our child's face. She's 5 months on social media. They've seen the back of her head, but they have not, because I'm in the world of influencing and blogging, and it's a bit different. I have yet, and me and my husband had a conversation about this, to show my child's face on social media, just because it's, we're living in a different world.
We are. And I encourage young children, when you post, don't post yourself
and where you are all the time. And
right. Oh, like yes. There has been, I'm a big ID channel girl too. In my next lifetime,
me too.
So I have seen stories, children posting their location, and someone come into the location and bodily harm is done to them, or they're killed. I've heard stories about that. That's why it's important. Even as adults, I tell people all the time, don't post your location. A lot of my friends, they will post when they get home. They'll take all this content. They'll take all these pictures, all these videos, and they literally won't post it till maybe like 3 days later.
Right. And I tell people like about going on vacation. Don't necessarily tell people when you're going on vacation, because then your house is there. And 2, you're telling people where you are, when you are, and all this other stuff. It's just,
again, it's that boundary.
Boundary. Yeah. And I've gotten more so wary of that having a child. So, just to keep her, it was hard enough to get her here. So I want to keep her safe.
I know that. Oh my gosh. I totally understand. And imagine when she gets older, what it's going to be like with these digital devices.
Yes. Okay, Miss Raenae. We could go on and on and on about all this. I feel like we have so much in common, and we can talk.
Yes, we do.
But
I love it.
What 1, 2, 3 things do you want people to take away from this that they can use, that they need about, social media, digital threats, anything? What can they take away from this? What do you need in their toolbox?
In their toolbox, I want people to be empowered that just because other people are doing it on social media does not make it okay. I want people to take away that there needs to be a sense of empathy that we need to employ within ourselves when we are watching things on social media. Right. And I want people to take from it that we do not have room to judge anybody. We do not have room to judge anybody. It doesn't matter if you know them, if you don't know them. There is always that one side that you see, that one moment in time that someone decided to post about somebody. And you don't know if it's true or if it's not. You don't know what the backstory is of it. So you can't take everything you see on social media and take it for face value.
Right. Especially in this day and age with this AI stuff.
Yes.
Like, not everything is real.
Correct.
It's going to get better, but AI is going to get better and better at making stuff look real. So
absolutely. Yes. I just want people to really take away to really have empathy. Really have empathy. That we have lost the empathy of this world because of social media.
Really I agree. There's no one-on-one anymore. There's no feeling for everybody. There's not a lot of helping everybody. Yeah, because imagine in our day and age, because you and I are basically same age, like if certain things like this happened, it wouldn't go on for this long. Like somebody would step in, somebody would say something, somebody would have somebody's back. But now it's, let's do stuff to get likes. Let's do stuff to get comments. Let's do stuff to get shares.
Yes. And also one of my favorite quotes, and I said this in one of my TikTok videos, you had a purpose before they had an opinion.
She just said something there.
Yeah.
Make sure you're listening.
You had a purpose in this world before social media. You had a purpose before the likes. You had a purpose before the comments. You had a purpose before the shares. I really want people to take that away from them, because when you leave this world, social media is going to keep going. It's going to keep going. It is. Take social media with you. So, and I also talk about mental health too. I'm really big on mental health. Unfortunately, because of what happened to me, I was actually diagnosed with a major depressive disorder. I'm a big advocate on mental health and therapy. I talk about that in my podcast as well. Some other healing resources. I encourage people to reach out for therapy and counseling. It's easier to get to it than it was when we were growing up.
Right.
It's easier.
It's all out there. I mean, if you're a social media person, it's all on social media. They talk about mental health. They talk about self-care. There's all these resources.
Yes.
So tell people where they can find you, whatever, so I'll put all the stuff down in the comments below, but I want you to tell them, where can they find you? SociaLight Stars on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads, because I love Threads. A lot of people don't talk about Threads, but Threads is an amazing place. It's just a world of positivity. Now that is one of the best social media apps out there right now is Threads. But SociaLight Stars, 1L, SociaLight Stars. Awesome. Make sure you check out Miss Raenae. She's got a lot of resources. Check out her podcasts, follow her on social. And if this is, happening to you, I'm sure if you reached out to her, she'd be willing to help and listen to, because she's on a mission, and I love the mission she's on, to empower people to do good on social and not to do bad on social. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. Yay. This has been a great episode. I think this episode is much needed and people need to hear it. And we might be hearing from you again, because I feel like there's so much more that we can talk about with this.
Absolutely. I'm here. I'm just waiting on an email from you.
Awesome. Everybody, make sure you like and share this episode, because we need to get this mission out. We're out. We need to get this nonprofit out, and, you know, we need to help people. So thank you so much for listening. And we'll be back with episode 3 soon. So thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.